If you want to see Dublin, Ireland in 24 hours, here's what you need to do. Here's everything that I did on my itinerary and everything I saw. First, you're going to need change. You're always going to need change in your pocket because you're going to want to take public transportation. Leave your car behind, and this is a Castle Hotel that I stayed at. I'll talk more about that later. Taking the bus is €260, that's one way, and you need exact change each time. But the bus is going to drop you off here in downtown and you're going to walk, and the first thing you're going to see is this big spire. Now, the Spire of Dublin is also called the Monument of Light. It's a large stainless steel pin-like monument. It's almost 400 feet, and it's a great place to kind of track where you're at because it's so tall you can always find your way back to the bus station. Take public transportation. The first place we're going to see is the Trinity College. Now, this college is huge. It is Ireland's oldest college. Trinity College is one of Ireland's oldest universities. In fact, it is Ireland's oldest university and one of the most academically difficult colleges to get into the entire country. This college is known for how academically difficult it is to get into the college. So I'm guessing that all these students that I'm walking past are much smarter than me. Anyways, there's all these roses around, which had to do with an event that happened in December. I won't get into that, but I just couldn't get over all the architecture and history. I guess the college is many years old. This college is so old, it goes back to the medieval University of Dublin in 1320. Okay, so the main reason people come here is to see the Book of Kells in the old library. A long time ago, they took the Book of Kells and they put it in the trusted Trinity Library so that it could be kept safe. And this is the reason people come here. Now, the actual Book of Kells, you cannot see. It is locked up and there's a guard standing right in front of it. You cannot take any pictures, you cannot take any video, so I don't have any actual video of that. But what I do have is lots of video of what it looks like. Now, it does cost money and there's a lot of different options for you to spend money at the Book of Kells. I would spend the extra money to see the actual Book of Kells because it is so interesting. I guess this book was lost and then found later, and for many years it was taken from place to place so that the Vikings could not get it because it was like one of the most prized possessions that the Irish people had back in the day. This was a super cool display that they had. It's kind of like a 3D room that you could kind of see, kind of be immersed in what it was like to travel to different parts of Ireland, get away from the Vikings. Now, this is a long room of the old Trinity Library and is one of the most visited sites. It's got all these books and it's got this random globe. They call this the Gaia. It's got NASA imagery of the world. I don't really understand how that has to do with the library, but anyways, that looked kind of cool. Just this like floating random globe above my head. Now, there are over 200,000 books in this library and it is considered one of the most impressive libraries in the world. And it's considered one of the most impressive libraries in the entire world. And why people's names are on here and there's all these empty shelves, I have no idea. It looks like they have room for like another 1 million or 2 million books. And this is not the Book of Kells, but it's probably the closest thing that I'll actually get to videotape of the Book of Kells. All this interesting artwork is so vibrant. It must have taken a lot of time and money to get all the colors for these books. All right, so after spending about 15-20 minutes of looking at a bunch of books, you're gonna walk downstairs and you're gonna go to the next experience. Now remember, now this is giant red building here that you're gonna enter into. Now remember, you have to pay to go in these. You can't just walk into these randomly, but you have all this architecture, and so you have all these representations of old Irish culture, and it was really cool to see all the different instruments, the harp, how things are played, how things sound, how things used to look, how people used to talk. I had to know what this store was. It's actually books were really cool. I picked up a couple books out of here. And anyways, now we are walking down the streets of Dublin and we're gonna go see the statue of Molly. Now, the reason why Molly is famous is because she's part of a song set and she represents the 17th century dress on how women used to dress back in the day, and people would rub her. And there's part of her that you can get good luck, but I won't get into that. The next thing we're gonna see is Christ Cathedral. That is right around the corner. And when we first walk up, there's this person sleeping on the bench. I don't really understand that. That's the one thing about solo travel. You just don't understand what you're seeing. You see all these cool things, but you don't really understand them. Anyways, this was just magnificent in the architecture. You can just walk around for days. You can actually go inside some of these, but you don't want to disturb them if they're having mass or they're doing prayer. Okay, the next place we're gonna go is a Guinness Storehouse. Now, this is located on the far western part of the city, and it takes a long time to walk there. Most people are gonna take either a cart and buggy, or they're gonna take a taxi or an Uber to get there. But I decided to walk. It took me a long time to get there. And once you get in, this place is massive. It has so many different levels and stores. There's gift shops, there's little games you can play, there's Guinness everywhere. Of course, there's a tasting room. You can try to pour these Guinness yourself on this room, and the very top floor has what they call the gravity room. Now, the gravity room is where you taste beer, basically, and it has one of the best views of Dublin. Now, I was lucky because this day was really clear and sunny, and it was so cool to get to see the hills of Dublin on a nice clear day. But this room was absolutely packed. I felt super weird just being one person. Traveling solo is definitely not for the faint of heart because everybody is with somebody else except for you. You're kind of drinking alone by yourself. You don't know anybody, but that's besides the point. And it was really cool to see the history of Guinness. The only problem is a lot of the stuff I didn't really know what I was looking at. Like why there's this talking oyster and why this fish is riding this bicycle, I have no idea. Maybe that's like an old thing that they had to sell more Guinness back in the olden days, but your guess is as good as mine. And one thing I forgot to mention is you're gonna have to get your tickets in advance. You can't just show up and get tickets. You have to get them electronically, basically on your phone in advance, and definitely show up as early as you can, like 15-20 minutes before, because there's always a line. I was blown away by how many people there were here. It is definitely one of Dublin's #1 tourist attractions. And one of the attractions that you can choose is to take your face and take a picture and print it on the foam of a beer. And I know how touristy this was, but it's something that I wanted to do just so I could take a picture of it. And this is me drinking it. Basically, the foam stays on top the whole time you drink the beer, and at the end, you have like a disfigured face at the very bottom. Because they had the Guinness Six Nations rugby tournament going on, they had this kicking thing where you could go up and you could kick the ball. I thought it was really cool. This guy at the very end just kind of like kicks it like haphazardly and misses, which is really embarrassing. And on the way home, you realize how many people take these cart and buggies. It was super expensive. I couldn't believe the prices for that, but it's kind of a cool way to like have a couple of beers and then take a horse and buggy on the old Dublin roads back to your hotel. I didn't do that because it was too touristy, and to be honest, it was too expensive, so I just walked. I'm gonna take you back to my hotel. I told you I was gonna talk to you about this in the beginning. This is a Clontarf hotel. It's a castle hotel, pretty expensive, but I'm here in the off season, so it wasn't that bad. Basically, this is the location of the Battle of Clontarf in 1014. It's so long ago, I didn't even know how to say it. 1014, involving Brian Boru. Is actually one of the most historic battles in Irish history, and I just had a really good time. I definitely highly recommend it. It's really nice because it's not in downtown Dublin, which is really important because then you can park your car and you're not in the hustle and bustle of the city. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video.